And if you're a priest long enough, you run into this, and you run into people who've used Ouija boards who are possessed by the devil. It happens. Wearing charms is very reprehensible. So if I'm wearing my favorite, lucky rabbit's foot, that's bogus. What does a rabbit's foot have to do with anything? Spiritism often implies divination or magical practices and recourse to so-called traditional cures. This does not justify the invocation of evil powers. And so if I hold a seance, or if I'm over at my friend's house, or having a sleepover, it's 1:30 in the morning, the guy's parents are gone, there I am. And all of a sudden somebody starts talking about having a seance. It's serious mortal sin. Seances are real. They open up the window to spirits, which are demons. I can become possessed, obsessed, oppressed by demons. This stuff is real. Bad stuff. God's first commandment also condemns the main sins of your religion: tempting God, sacrilege, such as if I'm in the state of mortal sin and going to communion. Every time I go, I commit another mortal sin. Going to confession, and I lie to the priest, or I cover up a sin. I committed 4 mortal sins. I know it, but I'm embarrassed about one, so I only tell the priest 3. I commit a mortal sin by the very fact of doing that, and I come out of the confessional with 5 mortal sins on my soul. Sacrilege. Or if I see a nun in the supermarket getting some groceries, and I have something against Catholics, so I go and pick on this nun. The nun is consecrated, and therefore I commit a sacrilege. If I hit a priest, a sacrilege. If I hit the Holy Father, I can excommunicate myself. Atheism, which includes practical materialism and atheistic humanism. I can also get involved in economic and social liberation, which is also a part of atheism. Or agnosticism. Well, God may exist, he may not exist. We really don't know. That's a bunch of garbage as well. We know that God exists, and he loves us. That was only the first commandment. It's only the first commandment. But with the first commandment, most people never heard this before. They don't understand it, they don't know it, they don't want to fool with it, and they don't care. So we have many young people who today get caught up in this stuff. And then when they get in trouble, who do they come looking for? Father, please help me. Which is fine, and that's what priests are here for. The second commandment, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. So I cannot abuse God's name. So every improper use of the names of God, Jesus, Christ, Blessed Virgin Mary, and all the saints, if I use and abuse their names in an irreverent way, I commit a serious sin. And so look at the agenda of Hollywood. Every movie that seems they have to somehow get in there, take God's name in vain, just to do it. They have an agenda. Blasphemy consists in uttering against God, inwardly or outwardly, words of hatred, reproach, or defiance, in speaking ill of God. Profanity is the disrespectful use of the holy name of God in anger or thoughtlessly. The second commandment also forbids the magical use of the name of God, or using the name of God to give into some false oath, which calls God on God to be a witness to a lie. And so what happens if I'm in a jury and I swear on the Bible that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and then I lie? That's the sin of perjury. The third commandment, remember to keep holy the Lord's Day. Sunday is the day on which the Paschal mystery is celebrated in light of the apostolic tradition, and is to be observed as the foremost holy day of obligation in the universal church. Also to be observed are the holy days of obligations. And all Catholics have a responsibility to find out what the holy days of obligation are. We can't say, well, I just kind of missed it. Well, get out a book, call somebody, talk to your priest, find out what they are, write them down, and make it on time, and be there, and keep the holy days of obligation. There is no excuse for missing a holy day of obligation, unless, something like I'm sick, or, I have to take care of somebody who's in dire need, something like that, of course. But just because I'm just too lazy to find out what it is, it's a serious sin by the very fact of doing that. So I must also not do unnecessary work on Sunday. I need to make it a day of rest and leisure, and I need to spend more time in prayer, adoring and worshiping God. So just because I don't go to work doesn't mean I can go shopping for 8 hours in one day. That's serious sin. Article 4, the fourth commandment, honor your father and your mother. And so I can violate this through disobedience, disrespect, ingratitude, irreverence, contempt, or dishonor towards my parents. So even if I do what they tell me, but I'm disrespectful, it's a sin. I owe my parents respect, gratitude. I need to revere them. Of course, if they ask me to do something sinful, I can't do it. But I do need to be obedient. Not taking care of my elderly or sick parents, another sin. Not providing, educating, or caring for one's children, a sin. Not providing for my child's or my children's spiritual needs. If I just let them, I don't teach them the virtues, I don't teach them the faith, they can just kind of have whatever and do whatever they want, learn all of their education from Madonna and rock stars and, Metallica. Well, that's no good. That's being a parent who is not doing their job right. We have to take care to protect our children. And I've seen it. I've seen the pictures of these guys who look like devils on the front pages of newspapers and openly say, parents, if you do not teach your children, I will teach them for you. What are they going to teach your children? They're going to teach your children how to worship the devil, and they openly say they're going to do this, commit all kinds of violence, crimes against life, and perform the most gross sexual behavior you can think of. If we don't stop our children from getting into this, it is a serious mortal sin, and we are held responsible for those sins to the extent that we did nothing to stop it. Not carrying out one's civic responsibilities is also a sin. For example, not paying taxes, exercising my right to vote, or defending my country. The fifth commandment, you shall not kill. Human life is sacred because from its beginning it involves the creative action of God, and it remains forever in a special relationship with the Creator, who is every human person's sole and final end. God alone is the Lord of life from its beginning until its end. And so, no one can, under any circumstance, claim for himself or herself the right directly to destroy an innocent human being. It obliges each and every one, always and everywhere. I can never, ever kill someone and take an innocent human life. Now, of course, sometimes I have to defend myself. Some guy's coming at me with a gun. Well, what am I supposed to do? Just say, shoot me? No, I have to defend myself. And that may even require using deadly force back. But I cannot take an innocent human life. Direct and intentional killing is gravely sinful. The murderer and those who cooperate voluntarily in murder commit a sin that cries out to heaven for vengeance.